Hello everyone, it's Eric, back again. Been away for a few weeks, but in those few weeks, it's been pretty weird for the UK. The Queen, dead. The pound almost goes to parity against the dollar, and now, within the last week or so, pensions almost collapsed. And guess what we needed to happen? We needed the Bank of England to step in and save us. Because it's for you. They've done this to save you. The pension advisors are the ones that are to blame, isn't it? They're all in this together, and it's so co-opted. So I just have a few points which I want to go over with you quickly. Just a few things I've been thinking about while I've been investing behind the scenes. So, dollar proliferation. We've known about it, but we've pushed it behind. So for the past 2 years, or slightly more, after the big C, where the Fed's balance sheet doubled within a couple of months, but everyone just didn't care. Equities up, free cash, and it's come back to bite us, and hard. Doesn't matter where you look, doesn't matter where you try to go, the inflation is here, and it's biting hard. Well, I'm saying biting hard, it's probably hitting you in the face more. I think a punch is worse than a bite. But, so, the Bank of England is hiking up its own rates, but even doing that, and it's still quite a few basis points behind America, everything's still imploded. And one book which I recently read at the beginning of the year, which is pretty interesting, it was called The Dying of Money, Lessons of the Great German and American Inflation. And here are a few topics from that book which sound quite familiar at the moment. 1, hyperbolic markets. 2, inflation. 3, price caps. 4, scapegoats. The first two, they're pretty self-explanatory. Price caps, they're in energies at the moment. And scapegoats, I'll talk about that one slightly later. So, pensions. The golden rule for pensions, 60-40. 60% asset allocation to bonds, 60, yep. And 40% to equities. And guess what? Those pensions had margin calls, hard ones. Margin calls, if you don't know, i.e., simple terms, pay up now. And that's it. And that's what they had to do. They sold quite a lot of their equities. I think there's one pension fund in the UK sold off its entire portfolio of equities to meet its margin calls. And guess what? Those equities were down hard. The S&P year to date is down about 20% or so. And they're taking a massive loss on that. And with the gilts, maybe with the UK government stepping in, they might get parity on that. But for most of them, I think they're just taking a big loss. And for most people, they're thinking there's going to be a V-shaped recovery in the markets. I don't believe it at all. It's too convenient. And the main rule of the pensions, even if you don't forget about it, 20%, 22 and 20% performance, 2% asset under management. Those pensions, they're not going to let go of those assets at all. But I'm going to tell you how those assets are going to actually kind of decrease in a way, or maybe the liability corresponding to it is going to disappear, and it's not going to be a fun way it's going to disappear. So, what's my next point? Sorry. The energy crisis, scapegoats. Supposedly, it's the bad Russians that are cutting off the energy to the UK, but don't believe that at all. We already know what's happening. The UK has the ability, well, specifically Germany, has the ability to actually allow gas to flow from Nord Stream. All what Russia said, just turn back on the pipe, turn the key. Well, guess what? Supposedly, there's a gas leak. Too convenient, huh? So now, even if Germany wanted the energy, they're not going to get it at all. And who did it? We're all wondering about that. Who did it? Well, I know for one thing, the flag probably has red, white, and blue. And if it's not the other country 2,000 miles to the west of the UK, it's the UK itself, or probably some entity of it itself. So, the scapegoat, Russians. Nah, don't believe that. So, now, pensions. How are pensions going to reduce their liabilities? These are big liabilities. Doesn't matter what type of pension scheme you're on, if it's defined benefit, or the defined contributions, or even the sharing one. Doesn't matter what they're going to do, they're still underperforming in my view. And there's one way they're going to be able to reduce those liabilities, and it's not a good one. So right now, it's about 12 p.m. Been riding around London. You can probably see my bike there, and my camera set up as well. Tried to set it up before, but just couldn't get it right, so just holding it instead. So I'm young, I'm riding around on my bike. I'm wearing 3 layers or so. 3 layers, if you didn't hear that. But guess what? I'm cold already. Now think about this. At home, somewhere in the UK, or maybe in Europe, there's a grandma. She's sitting at home, and she has a blanket on. The World Economic Forum, they're telling her she needs to ration her energy, consume less. She needs to do her part, right? Well, guess what? Guess what also she has at home? The smart monitor, aka the snitch. And it's gonna snitch on her if she uses up too much energy. So guess what she's doing? She's sacrificing. She's sitting cold. I'm gonna say this, and people might not like it, but you probably need to kiss your grandma goodbye, because this might be her last Christmas. And that's bad, but I think that's what they're wanting to happen. The only way you're going to reduce the liabilities for the pension is to reduce the amount of people that it's owed to. And if it's with big C, if you're thinking about that, or cutting off the power supply to those who need it most, or energy supply mostly, this is what I'm feeling is being done. And annuities, pension providers, as well as insurance providers as well, they might benefit from the short term, and that may give a temporary boost in their earnings and just reduce a tiny bit of the pressure. But I don't think that's any time to just start jumping in the markets. I think the market, for the most part, is going down no matter where you look. So the V-shaped recovery, it's not happening in my view. Not at all. Not in bonds, not in equities, not in cryptos. Gold, precious metals, I'm looking at them quite a bit, looking at uranium a bit more. But I think for the most part, there's no V-shaped recovery. I think there's going to be proliferation for the main beneficiary of the energy shortage, which is uranium. Currently looking at what's it called? Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, as well as the uranium. The uranium miners. Sorry for that swearing. I forgot. But V-shaped recovery, it's not happening. And in the next few weeks, I think 1 or 2 weeks, October 17th to the 21st, Q3 earnings. And the big players are going to be announcing their earnings, and there's going to be a massive miss in my opinion. We got Bank of England, Netflix, Tesla, Schwab, J&J, PNB. I don't know, man. I just don't feel earnings coming. And I feel that it's just going to be a massive slump. Might be temporary pops in the market, but for the most part, it's just going down, and it's going to go down hard. As the young kids will say in their slang terms, that shit slaps, and it's not slapping good. So, what more can I say? I think for the most part, just to hold tight. As I said, I'm looking at uranium mainly, either physical or the miners. I think there's going to be a few more weeks of just a bit of hardship for all companies in general. And with that, I don't think there's much more to say. If you're a value investor, this is possibly the best opportunity for you. Big companies. Whatever type of company you're looking for is probably going to be there. So just take a hard look at the balance sheet, think about the economics of the company, is business mode, and is the company sustainable? Is it still going to be here after Christmas? For the few companies I'm looking at, mainly in energies and healthcare, as well as database infrastructure, I think they're still going to be here. And just keeping an eye out for them. Not really jumping in at anything at the moment. Got a few limit orders pretty far down. But other than that, it's just smooth sailing. Just holding tight. And not letting all this fear-mongering get you down. So, yeah, that's me. That's Eric. Thanks for watching.